I want to do that, I thought, nearly 6 years ago. But who am I and what was that? Welcome to the studio, I'm Laura. While I paint Riley, my sister's dog, I will tell you about my art journey thus far. Nearly 6 years ago, I became obsessed with modern animated films, namely Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy. These films were my first inspiration, as I learned about how art is the foundation of film. When I watched behind the scenes, I thought, I want to do that. My art journey really started with fan art. I traced a lot of screenshots from movies on my iPad, my very, very old iPad. This is how I got started, and I think tracing helped develop a lot of muscle memory, which has helped me with my art to this very day. In early 2020, when I learned that I'd be stuck at home, I decided that I was going to become the best artist that I can be. This meant I watched a lot of YouTube videos and filled a lot of sketchbooks. It took me a lot of time to find my style, and now I'd describe it as semi-realism or slightly comic-esque or even like cartoony realism. My painting style varies from my drawing style significantly, but I'm trying to make the two look a bit more similar. I really enjoy graphite or pen for fun sketches. And when I was starting out, I also dabbled in alcohol markers and watercolors, until I officially started acrylics in September of 2022. I had attended the Lake Country Art Walk, which is a huge expo in BC. After deciding to apply for it, I splurged on all the startup supplies I would need, and I started painting. Over 6 months, I painted 12 chicken-themed paintings, and I had them ready just in time to submit my application for the art walk. During those 6 months of painting, I also looked into courtroom art. People will pay artists to create renditions from trials, since cameras aren't allowed in the courtroom. This is when I discovered live wedding painting on Pinterest. Live wedding painting is when an artist is hired to paint a scene from a wedding at a wedding. It's really cool, and being the hopeless romantic I am, I was intrigued. While I was learning about live wedding painting, my chicken collection was accepted into the 2023 Lake Country Art Walk, and overall, it was a great experience. I also brought my supplies with me and did 2 live paintings over the weekend while I stood at my booth, and that was really cool. I'm working on a couple more collections in the upcoming year, and I will be submitting for the 2024 Art Walk. One of my coworkers got married in October, and I also got to paint at his wedding. I really enjoyed the experience. I only had about 2.5 hours of painting time, and I finished the piece in my studio. The couple loved the painting, which was very reassuring. Any artists will understand the relief of your client being happy with their artwork. I've made multiple reels about this painting on my Instagram if you wanted to check them out. I'm currently booking for 2024, and I'm excited to paint at more weddings. I had a lot of people asking me if I was nervous about painting in front of people, and honestly, I wasn't. I went out in the summer for 13 weeks and painted in public, which at first was kind of nerve-wracking, but after a while, you get used to it. Knowing how to draw from a reference is also very helpful when it comes to live painting, because you are just painting what you see, and if you can do that freehand, it makes it a lot simpler for you. I do recommend learning how to follow a reference before you start stylizing, because when you learn how things are supposed to be, it's a lot easier to make them look good when they're stylized. For example, if you know that there's supposed to be one eye's worth of space between the eyes, then when you translate that into, say, a more cartoony style, it will still translate well and look good. Kind of like a learn the rules before you break them situation. What I'm trying to improve upon is not directly copying references, but just taking inspiration from them. I feel like by doing this, I can make my paintings look more like my own style rather than just copying a photo. I haven't painted a dog since last Christmas, so about a year now, and I'm pretty happy with how this portrait of Riley is coming out, especially because it has her personality in it, and that can be pretty hard to achieve. So I think that's one improvement I've made. Something that I could work on in the future is making her look more like her age, because Riley looks very young in this painting, and she's about 2 years old now. The energy is there for sure. What I've learned from doing art is that you need to set different types of goals, the long-term and the short-term goals. Long-term goals need to stay the same, because if you keep changing your long-term goals, then you will never master one art, one career path, one skill. It's okay to change short-term goals a little bit, because at the end of the day, as long as they're all contributing towards the long-term goal, then you can still reach that goal. For example, when I started out, I just decided that I wanted to become the best artist that I can be. And this is something that I'm still working towards to this day, although the short-term goals have changed a bit. Instead of working for a movie studio to design characters and do that type of work, now I'm more into doing custom paintings for clients and doing live wedding paintings. These newer goals still will eventually lead to me becoming a better and better artist. That's something I really appreciate about art, is that it will never be perfect. I'm a bit of an optimist, and the way that I see it is it's very difficult to get bored at something that you're constantly improving and experimenting with. Overall, I can just see where I want to take my art, but since I'm not there yet, I can keep working towards that goal. There's literally no limit to what you can achieve with art, and I think that's why I'm an artist. Thanks for watching. This video was more about my art journey, but in future videos, I'd love to get more into my process, sketches, and supplies as well. So if you'd like to see more from my studio, please hit subscribe, and until then, happy painting!